Welcome to the virtual college fair. This session is on Earlham College. We have a representative that will provide you great information and will be able to answer any questions you may have. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within a week at the same website where you registered. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenter from Earlham College.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Susan Hillman de Castañeda, Director of International Admissions at Earlham College. We're located in Richmond, Indiana. I'm going to share a quick presentation with you so that I make sure I cover specific information. So give me just a minute as we are getting this set up and I share my screen with you. I know that I have been the Director of International Admissions at Earlham for the past 9 years. And I do other things here as well, but working with you international students is really one of my favorite parts of my job. So I'm going to get started here on the presentation. And we always like to start by recognizing the land that Earlham is on, which it was part of the Osage, Shawnee, and the Miami people. So Earlham College is located in Richmond, Indiana, which is in the Midwest of the United States. We're about 4 hours by car from Chicago, Illinois, a big city a lot of people are familiar with. The town we're in is about 36,000 people. It's a quaint town. There are a lot of things to do in town, nice coffee shops, a really wonderful gorge area, places to walk and ride your bicycle, opportunities to be involved with the community. Earlham was founded in 1847 by Quakers, which is a Christian religion. You do not have to be a Quaker or a Christian to come to Earlham College. We welcome all faiths. So I'm going to play you just this quick video. Hopefully the sound is working for you.
As Earlhamites, when we set our minds to do something, we see it through.
Because when we strive to do what's right,
we believe ways will open for us.
It's why we design inclusive playgrounds and innovative transportation solutions.
Why we work to solve water crises and pioneer new technology.
Why we commit to bridging gaps and exploring the unexpected.
It's why we stay curious.
Why we insist on better answers.
Because at Earlham,
we don't see the world as a project. We see it as our purpose.
And we recognize our own potential in making this earth more beautiful,
more just,
and more peaceful for everyone.
For good.
Great, so as I mentioned, we are a small private liberal arts and sciences school. We're very much focused on preparing you to make a difference in the world, to be a catalyst for good in a changing world. We provide very rigorous academics to you, and we'll talk about the programs in just a minute. And we are shaped by the principles of the Religious Society of Friends. Now Earlham is a learning community, and we motivate and inspire you by offering you transformative opportunities and experiences that will help shape you into a catalyst for good in our world that has a lot of needs. And we do that through our faculty. Our faculty are very talented. 95% of them have their Ph.D. or their terminal degree. And along with our staff and providing you opportunities to work very closely with them. And they're very much focused on your success. You are very active in your learning. You will get to choose the classes that you take. You will choose your major. You have until the end of your second year to declare your major. And we have over 40 majors and minors available at Earlham. You will do presentations, you'll write a lot of papers, you'll work in groups with other students. So you're very active in your education. It is not just listen to a lecture and take a test, but you will engage with the materials, write papers, do presentations in class. We have over 22% of our students are international students, and we work really hard at making it possible for international students to join us. Another 22% of our students are domestic multicultural students. So we're a very diverse student body right in the middle of the United States. You also will have opportunities to study in a different country or different place during your time at Earlham. We'll talk in just a minute about the Quaker values and principles. Our community, we talk a lot about community here, and we always have. We believe we can learn more by working together, by supporting each other, as opposed to simply competing against each other. So it's a very collaborative setting where you will be challenged, but also be supported. Our principles and practices, while we do call them Quaker principles and practices, we know many people hold these same principles. And that's an important foundation and really the context in which you will have your education at Earlham. So our respect for persons, for example, we do not use titles. We believe everyone's created equally. We do recognize that people's experiences in life have been very different, but we recognize the value, the truth that each person holds, and we want to make space for you to share your ideas, your thoughts, your understanding of the world. Integrity is important as well, to mean what you say and say what you mean. And for example, many of our tests are not proctored. They will hand out the examination and the professor will leave the room for you to do your own work. We're very committed to peace and justice, equity and inclusion. These are things that are very important to our life together on campus and as we prepare students to go out into the world. Simplicity helps us be clear again in what we're speaking, but it also means that we take care of the environment. We're very concerned about environmental issues and how we can simply live simply so that others can simply live. And as I mentioned, community is something that's very dear to us, that we take very seriously, that we're together to challenge each other to grow, to help each other reach their potential, but also to support you when you need help. There are many ways. So you would have an academic advisor, you would also have an international student advisor, your residence assistants in the dormitory, other faculty and staff who will always be there to be of support to you. Our academic life obviously is very important since we are an undergraduate institution, and we do offer more than 40 majors and minors. Our largest programs on campus are biology, computer science, psychology, global management, which is our business program. We do have some new majors that we have this year. So we have social science, social services, media and communications, data sciences, exercise science, and we have a minor in equestrian management if you're interested in working with horses. As I mentioned, you do have until the end of your second year to actually declare your major. If you know what you want to study right when you arrive, that's perfectly fine. You can begin working on that right away. If you come across something yet you'd rather shift your emphasis to, there still is time to do that. So we want you to maybe take some classes you've never taken before, try something new, and maybe find what you're really passionate and curious about. You do have requirements outside of your major, so you have opportunity to take advantage of and pursue your interests. Most people have a variety of interests. So let's say I majored in Spanish here, but I also took a whole year of economics, a whole year of sociology, a whole year of geology, some music classes, some art classes, and I've used it all at some point in my life. We're really noted for our classroom experience. It's where the magic happens. Our professors are very dedicated to you as students. We open space for you to ask your questions, to share your thoughts and ideas, to listen carefully to other students in the classroom. Because we have students from over 60 countries and 20% of them are international, and we have students from over 45 states and territories in the United States, It's a very diverse student body, so you get to hear a lot of different perspectives, ways of looking at life, philosophies of life, ideas about the subject matter you're talking about. So that enriches you as a person if you're able to study in a diverse setting. You have great access to your professors. As you can see, the student to faculty ratio is 9:1. So your faculty members are available to ask questions outside of the class. We do call everyone by their first name. So you can have very different types of conversations when you get to say, oh, Woma, I didn't understand that point you were making today in class, as opposed to having to say, oh, Dr. Song, I didn't understand that. So when you can approach people more as on the same level, by calling people by their first names, it really allows you to be valued and cherished and recognized as someone who has important ideas and thoughts. We are recognized by the Princeton Review, have been for several years now, for our classroom experience. We know that college is very, very different than high school. It goes at a different pace. You're taking harder subjects, you're having to study a lot, write a lot of papers. And so we provide help for our students through our quantitative reasoning writing center if you need help writing your papers, or other students who are doing really well in that subject and who can act as a tutor for you. If you do need accommodations, you can work with people in our disability services office. So I love this slide because it's an unusual way to talk about why you come to college. As opposed to, yes, we want you to go out and get a wonderful job, go on to graduate school, but how is it that you accomplish those things? And we really believe that these 7 learning outcomes are what are needed to be built throughout your 4 years as you are moving through our curriculum. So we want you to be able to communicate effectively, persuasively, with authority, and with well sought out references and resources, to work collaboratively with other students, with other people. Many of the jobs that you'll be getting require you to work with other people. So to have practice doing that is very helpful. We want you to be able to know how to research, how to analyze, how to do the critical thinking in every discipline, not just the sciences. It's very important to know how to do research in those different disciplines. We have a program at Earlham called EPIC, which is an Earlham plan for an integrated curriculum. We really believe that it's important that you take what you learn in your biology class and you're able to take it into your economics class. Or how is geology and religion connected? How is math and music, how are math and music connected? It's important to be able to integrate your understanding of the world, because that helps you as you go out and work and study in any realm of human activity, to see how what you're doing is connected to different aspects of life. We hope you'll try something new at Earlham. Try a different club, a different sport, maybe dance or play the hand drums or the gamelan. Again, it's a way for you to continue to grow as a person, make new friends, and be able, again, to understand the world from different perspectives. Creation and innovation are really important in today's world as it gets more complex and there's more need. So we have to be creative in the solutions that we propose, to work together to find different ways, innovative ways to address the problems in the world today. It is important to take some time to really look at what you're learning, to really solidify that learning, to reflect on, this is what I'm learning, are the needs I see in the world, how can I connect those two things? And so we help you find that time to be reflective. All of this points to how can you go out into the world and make a positive contribution to what's happening in the world. How can you apply what you're learning in the real world? And we know that requires practice. So we have a very great component for experiential and integrated learning. And we have, under our EPIC program, we have what's called the Earlham Advantage, which guarantees you funding up to $5,000, and this is in addition to any financial aid, or a merit scholarship, for you to have an internship anywhere around the world, or to have a research opportunity with a professor and a small group of students. So this student here is going to tell you about her internship at the Cincinnati Zoo.
This summer we're working with Wild Encounters here at the Cincinnati Zoo, and our job is really to take animals out to people, to get people to interact with the animals up close, be able to touch them and really see them. So we do giraffes, we take the flamingos on walks every morning, we take snakes and lizards and all kinds of animals out. We get to work with a really great group of people here and some really fun animals, so it's been a great time. I've always been really interested in zoology, so when it came time to start applying for internships, I really started looking around. I really found this on my own by looking into the Cincinnati Zoo's programs, which has been really great. I feel like one of the things I've gained is a lot of public speaking skills. Actually, interacting with the public every day has taught me a lot about interacting with people of all different ages. Obviously, of course, I've also learned animal handling skills and just a lot more about the animals that we take care of here. So it's really opened my eyes to a lot of like the education side of zoos as well as the animal care side. It's been really great this summer to be able to live on my own because I haven't really been able to do that before. That's something that EPIC funding has really helped me out with. It's not something that I probably would have been able to afford if that wasn't available to me, which I think is a problem with a lot of people with unpaid internships. Living in Cincinnati has been great. There are so many opportunities here. I get to go out with coworkers and do fun things all the time, and it's really a center for a lot of different industries, so it's cool to be around other interns too and get to talk to everybody.
So you can either have your own internship, as Anna did, and again, we had students do it in many countries around the world. Typically, it happens in the summertime, or you can go with a small group of students to a variety of places around the world with a professor to work on a particular issue. As you see in this photo, here's a group of students who did public health work in Costa Rica. Our EPIC centers that I mentioned are on the entrepreneurship and innovation. So if you have an idea for a business or some project that you would like to pursue, you can work through that center. Environmental leadership obviously is really important as we're trying to take care of the earth and address issues with the environment. And they program activities and projects in many places in Richmond, but also across the United States. There is also a group who go to Europe every summer to look at environmentally sustainable cities in Europe. Our global and career education, that's where you will find your international student advisors, and they're very, very helpful to you throughout the whole process and whole time you are at Earlham. You will have one assigned just to you. Also, if you are interested in studying abroad or in a different place for a whole semester, you can go to our global and career education office to find out about that. If you're interested in global health, public health, entering medical school or any other sort of health profession, you can work on the projects through this center. And then our social justice one is very important as we're working on issues of race issues, ethnicity, inclusion, diversity, political issues, as well as community service. Here are a few places that our professors have taken students a year ago. Obviously, because of COVID, we were not able to do these programs this summer, but we're looking forward to being able to reinstate these next year. They change every year depending on what the professor is working on or where the students are wanting to go and do a project. So it really is another opportunity to work closely with your professor and a group of students in many places around the world. All of those programs I just mentioned there are covered by the Earlham Advantage program, which offers you up to $5,000 one time during your time at Earlham. So if you're interested in studying in yet another place during a whole semester, you would participate in one of our off-campus study programs. About 65% of our students do it. And these are the places around the world where we have programs set up. They're either run by Earlham itself, meaning a professor does all of the organization, works with people in the country where they're going, or we work with a reputable organization who has done this for many years. It is a study abroad program, and it's not a vacation. For 6 months, you will take classes, you will maybe learn another language. Home stays, you'll get to experience living with people in the different parts of the world. Some of them are language based, so you need to be proficient enough in Spanish, for example, to go on the Ecuador program. Or some of them you will do an intensive language course at the very beginning. For example, in Jordan, you would do an intensive Arabic course at the beginning. The wonderful thing to know about these programs is it's the same cost of tuition, fees, room and board to go on one of these programs as it is to stay here on campus. That's why 65% of our students are able to participate in that option. So you can come to the United States as an international student, but still go out into a different part of the world for a whole semester. Our student life obviously is very important. In the United States, most colleges and universities are residential, which can be different from many parts of the world. So you actually move to the college or university, you live in a dormitory or a residence hall for the 4 years that you are studying at that institution. That means there's a lot of time outside of your time of studying that you get to be involved in clubs and organizations, in athletics, in music, in theater arts, just hanging out with your friends and having a good time, going off campus and maybe eating out or getting ice cream or coffee. So we at Earlham have over 60 student-led organizations and clubs, and they range from the cultural clubs. So I know there's a Vietnamese group on campus right now. There are other international groups on campus. We do have, for example, in our political club, there would be Students for Peace and Justice in Palestine. A number of religious groups on campus. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We do have recreational sports for those students who want to play just for fun and not be on a varsity team. So we have ultimate frisbee, rugby, pickup basketball games. We have esports, which is pretty exciting, or they're video games, but there is a whole club around that. We have a special room for that now. So there are many ways that you can be involved to relax, try something new, maybe learn a new skill. We have an amazing outdoor education program if anyone's interested in hiking, kayaking, mountain climbing. We have a whole program in the summer for those things, and you could learn how to be a leader if you wanted to do that. And if there's something you really, really want to have happen and we don't have it, you can write a proposal to make that happen. So as I mentioned, all of these are student initiated. We very much pay attention to what it is that students are wanting to do and what they're wanting to have available, and to open doors for them to be able to provide leadership for those new events and organizations. If any of you are athletes, we'd love to talk to you. I know the coaches would be very happy to be in communication with you. These are the sports that we offer at Division III. So as you may know, in the United States, there are 3 divisions of athletics. Division I, and 1 is the most competitive, and they're usually found at larger institutions. 2, and then Division III, which is what Earlham is. So it means there's an emphasis on you being a scholar first and then an athlete, although we are very competitive. And based on this, we are not allowed to give athletic scholarships, but we do give very generous merit scholarships based on your academic performance. So if there are any athletes out there, please do let me know, and I would be happy to put you in communication with the coach. Obviously, right now, because of COVID, we're not able to have our competitions with other colleges, but again, we're very hopeful that that will be resolved by the next academic year. As I mentioned, we do have quite a variety of religious practices and faiths represented among our student body. and we have various faculty members who are here to serve as leaders and guides for those students. We do have several Christian groups, so Questing Catholics, the Quaker group, there's Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and then groups for our Buddhist students, our Jewish students, our Muslim students, our Hindu students. We do have a religious service every week. It is not required, but anyone is welcome to join us. And as you might imagine, right now we're doing it all on Zoom this semester. Residence life is very important because it's where you're going to live for 4 years. So we have a variety of dormitories on campus. We have 8 dormitories. We also have houses, so regular family houses that the college has purchased and turned into housing for students. And then we have some apartment style housing in the back of campus where our junior and senior students can live. You will have a resident assistant. You'll have a hall. There are many layers of people who are there to help you in your dormitory. In the first year, we have first year dorms. So all of our first year students live together so that we can do special programming just for you as you are adjusting to life at Earlham College. So here's just a quick video about one of our dormitories.
Bundy Hall is exciting. My name's Ben. I'm a freshman and I'm majoring in CS, so computer science. Earlham has 3 first-year residence halls, Bundy, Barrett, and Oviendis. My dorm room's the Peanut, so it's kind of 2 dorms and combined into 1. We have a nice living space where we can do homework, hang out with friends, and whatnot. I'm happy I brought bed sheets. Some people I know didn't bring bed sheets, and that was quite unfortunate for a couple weeks there. I also suggest setting all your stuff up once you get in the dorm right away, because I lived in like just a mess for about 2 weeks when I didn't unpack anything. It definitely feels like home more so than my actual home back in Minnesota, just because I spend about 60% of my time in there outside of classes. Oh, hey Joseph, sorry. When I was picking my dorms, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's one of the oldest buildings on campus, and you kind of have like this nice community of other people who have been through Bundy and the like alumni. You can instantly connect with someone else. You're from Bundy too.
So it's really fun. It's really nice to have students talk that way about their dormitories, and that building in particular is the one that most people have very fond memories of. If you lived in Bundy, you're always a Bundy person. Richmond is located on the eastern edge of the state of Indiana. Again, it's in what we call the Midwest of the United States. So we're north, near the Great Lakes. And we do have all 4 seasons here, so it's really beautiful. Every season has its beauty. We're just entering into fall, so all the leaves are turning colors here. It's really beautiful. Winter, we do get some snow, depending on how hard the winter is. Last year was a really nice winter. We got enough snow to make it look white and pretty, but not too much snow for too long. In the springtime, the flowers are so gorgeous. And most students are not here in the summertime when it gets pretty hot, but most students are home during that time. So we have about 800 acres, which is a really big size for a campus. The buildings are on the front 200 acres, and then we have in the back all of the sports fields and the equestrian center. We have a small farm. We have woods and trails where you can go running or hiking or picnics with your friends. So it's a nice sized campus. There are no city streets that go through our campus, so you feel very safe and secure here, although you're very close to the downtown of our city. Richmond itself has some really interesting history. In the early 1900s, we had a really high percentage of millionaires who lived in our city, very wealthy people here. There was a lot of industry, which since has moved outside of the United States or to different parts of the country. But we still have very big emphasis on the arts. So we have a symphony orchestra, a community orchestra, community civic theater, if you're really into theater. The first recordings of jazz music were done in Richmond, Indiana. We had a bus factory. We have a beautiful natural area in town. There's a gorge right in the middle of the town, and there are trails that you can walk along and still find a lot of fossils. So it's a really interesting place to be. It's quiet enough that you're not distracted by wanting to go out every night, but we're close enough to other cities where a lot of students go on the weekends. They don't go home because it's too far from home, but there are places where you can go out dancing and go out to eat. Oh, I forgot to mention the closest international airport is only 45 minutes away, which is very nice for our students that you can arrive that close, and it's all interstate from the airport to the college. So admissions and financial aid are very important. Our application is open. It's free to apply. You do not need to pay anything to apply to Earlham. We use the common application or the Earlham application, and we can send you links to both of those. Obviously, in the applications, you do need to include your essay, your list of extracurricular activities, and then you need to ask your school counselor or official, if your school doesn't have a counselor, to send us your transcript or your note card with your grades on it and the classes that you took, a profile of your school, a recommendation from your counselor or the official, and then a teacher recommendation, because we want to see what kind of student you are. So that's a basic part of the application. For our international students, we do require English proficiency examination. So you can send in either the TOEFL or the IELTS, the Duolingo, the Cambridge English exam, or the same SAT or ACT. And I can send you the scores required for that later. We do not require SAT or ACT just for admission. We're test score optional in that sense, but for international students, we do need an English proficiency exam result. And then also for the international students, you would need to supply us with your international student financial aid application. And again, once you submit your application to the college, then I would send you that blank form to complete. Okay, and then financial aid, we award merit scholarships to all students based on your academic performance so far in high school. So that means we would use your grades or your grades and your test scores. If you do decide to submit your SAT or ACT scores, we would include that in consideration for your merit scholarship. It is not required. You do not have to send SAT or ACT. We will award a merit scholarship to you just based on your grades. And then the rest of it would be based on your need-based application. For our domestic students, they fill out the FAFSA, which goes to the federal government, but this is why we ask international students to complete your international student financial aid application and send it along with supporting documents. So our deadlines, we tried to make it very simple this year. We have one deadline December 1st and another deadline March 1st. And so you'd need to have your part of the application in by those deadlines. If you're a transfer student, then slightly different deadlines, which you can see on the slide here. We do have some virtual events, and I know that you're all international students are coming from very different time zones. But if any of these are helpful to you, you can sign up for them and we'll send you, if you're able to attend, that would be great. If you'd like us to send you a link to the recording, we can do that as well. So there's one on financial aid tonight, and then an open house, which would be really wonderful. If you wanted to register for that, it's a bit longer and you get to actually talk with professors and some current students. So I would really highly suggest that. we have programming all the way through November, and it's that list of that is available on our admissions website. Okay, so what can you do with an Earlham degree? That's very important. So our 92.6% of our students are either in school, working, or doing some sort of fellowship or other endeavors right out of, so this was 2019. And just to give you a few examples, so our Yu Quinn, who's from China, got hired on at the Microsoft office in Shanghai. And Grace is studying in the United Kingdom. Emma got right in as a research specialist at a neuroscience and psychopathology laboratory. Nathan is starting his own business in Indianapolis. Karun is, these are students who just graduated in May, and he's already working as a finance analyst at Fonterra in Chicago. And Sumaya is from Afghanistan, and she's our second Rhodes Scholar in 3 years, so she's studying at the University of Oxford. We're very proud of all of them. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing so that we can go back and answer any questions that you might have. So oftentimes students want to know about the application and what's involved in that. So what I just outlined here would be your part of the application, which is what you would fill out either on the common application or the Earlham application. And then you really have to work with your counselor at your school or your school official to make sure that they send us the other documents that we need. So recommendations and your school report is very important, because that helps put it into context what it is that you have been studying at your school. So you need to follow up with your counselor or school official and your teachers to make sure that they send us those documents. You will have a portal on your application account so that you can see what's still missing, and we'll help you work through that. I certainly I get a lot of questions too about, can I meet with you for an interview? I'm very happy to do that. I have a place on the website where you can go and register for an interview or a conversation. It's really a conversation with me. So I'd be more than willing to meet with you, and I'll work with you depending on your time zone, because I know time can be really difficult if you're many time zones away from Earlham. Are there any other questions out there I can help people with? You can go ahead and type them in the Q&A. Okay, so here's a question about minimum requirement for English proficiency. So as I mentioned, we do have a number of tests that we will accept. You would need to have at least a 79 for your TOEFL, a 6.5 on the IELTS, and 105 on your Duolingo. Duolingo is really great because you can do it actually from your own home at your own convenience. It's much less expensive than the other examinations, and they will send it directly to us along with the recorded. There is a personal part where, like an interview question that you have to answer. So they send even along that recording, so I can watch that when you're speaking, so I can hear your speaking ability. So if you're not able to do TOEFL or IELTS, Duolingo might be a great option for you. And again, if you have already done SAT or ACT, so for the ACT, we would need a minimum of 400 on the English-based reading and writing section, or on the ACT, we would need at least a 20 on the reading section. So we look at different parts just to make sure that you're able to keep up with the work at Earlham. I think we have just a few minutes left. Is that right, Annabelle? Any last questions? So I don't know if I have time to share my screen again. Let me see if I can get out of here. I did just want to say that our students, because they come from so many parts around the world, which we're very excited about, and with our principles and practices that we put in place, and we really do create this amazing opportunity for you to grow and develop as a person, as a student, as someone prepared to go out into the world and make a positive contribution, to be a catalyst for good in whatever realm of human activity you decide to work in. So we have people, obviously we have a lot of scientists, teachers, psychologists, lawyers, judges. We've had, several years ago, the US ambassador to Vietnam was an Earlham graduate. We've had people, so the person who developed the camera that was on the Mars rover, he's an Earlham graduate. So people have gone off to do some really amazing work. My own daughter, she's an Earlham graduate. She graduated with a degree in economics, and she's now a program director at LinkedIn in California, at the headquarters there in California. She just got promoted, so we're super proud of her. And even though we're small, our students go off and do some very, very amazing things because of their preparation academically, but also personally, to go out and make a difference in the world. Anything else I can help you with?
Great. Well, if there's no other questions, then we just want to thank you for your time and the insightful information you were able to share. Just want to thank everybody for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. And also, this was just one of the many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. In about a week, you'll be able to find the sessions recordings as well as all other sessions that you've attended at the same website where you registered. So thank you. Thank you to Earlham College for being able to present great information.
Thank you.